there is a big part that seems to be hidden, perhaps the greatest mystery of the light novels that no one talks about, a mysterious hidden arc other than the Hell arc. Yes, I'm talking about the separate set of events happening in the world of the living during Camp Fear Your Own World. Many characters did not show up in Camp Fear Your Own World, and as a result, other characters really had the time to shine. This is why Hisagi was the main character, because Mr. Main Character Ichigo Kurosaki and his friends were busy elsewhere. Ichigo's sisters, Yuzu and Karin, visited West Japan and were met with some trouble. What did they come across and what exactly? Well, we don't know, as that is the mystery. As a result of the troubles, countless characters would rush over to help. Ichigo, Uryu, Ishin, and I'm sure Chad and Orihime would accompany them as well. Ichigo may be fighting alongside his father once again, and this may perhaps be the time to unveil his Bankai. Ryukin wasn't really confirmed, but I feel this would be a good occasion to have Ichigo, Ishin, Uryu, and Ryukin all fight together if that isn't done in the Thousand Year Blood War. Later on, Renji, Rukia, Byakuya, Toshiro, and Rangiku would join to help out. If characters of this caliber were all needed, then chances are this wasn't some last minute beach party, as there surely must have been a big problem. Let's not forget, Ichigo and the gang were missing for the entirety of Camp Fear Your Own World, and by the time the Tokonata debacle had been solved, they were still in trouble, as Urahara would leave to accompany them. All this brings up the question, what the hell was the threat that they were facing? Especially if Hikone and Tokonata were dealt with quicker than whatever threat they had. Could it have been more dangerous than Tokonata? Surely their squad wasn't as weak as the Fellowship gathered to take down Tokonata. What group would you say is stronger, more capable? The Tokonata Extermination Squad or the Japan Emergency Squad? You can theorize that Tokonata had planned this all along to lure and occupy Ichigo and the gang, and if that was the case, it worked, because they were nowhere to be seen in Camp Fear Your Own World. He effectively split up Soul Reaper top ranks. Being a part of the visual department, he must have known Yuzu and Karin were going on a trip, and from there he acted to place a threat nearby, thus occupying Ichigo and the gang for the entirety of Camp Fear Your Own World. But the main question we have here is exactly what could they have faced? Perhaps it could have been someone from Hell who escaped, kind of like the Hellverse movie. This could help introduce the future arc. It also could have been remnants of Yhwach or something along the lines. If I were to make a theory on what would happen, it would be this. What if the gang encountered a dragon? A dragon? You may be thinking, what the hell is this guy talking about? But stay with me now. There were no dragons in the Bleach verse, but we did get introduced to them in the series Burn the Witch, which is in the same universe. In Burn the Witch, there is a western branch of the Soul Society, so you can presume the Soul Society we know is the eastern branch. Dragons are the main enemies in Burn the Witch, with some of them being domesticated and fighting alongside the main characters, with others being outlawed and hunted. It was stated in Burn the Witch, there was once dragons in Japan, where Bleach takes place in, but they were all exterminated long ago, hunted indiscriminately. Tokonata and his clans are the keepers of the past. They're the ones who documented history. If dragons were around at the time of his ancestors, he would have known, since he knew of even more taboo topics like the Soul King. Tokonata and his clans have always been collectors in the shadows, from Soul King fragments to remnants of prized souls. They always took an interest in valuable things. And so what if all the dragons were not exterminated, and some were saved by the Tsunayashiro clan, hidden all this time? If that was the case, Tokonata may have released a dragon to occupy Ichigo and the others. That could explain why they are having so much trouble. The group in the world of the living could rival the Fellowship made to take down Tokonata. It would have been hard to find threats that give Ichigo and Uryu alone a hard time, so perhaps it was not an issue of killing something, but rather protecting something. Maybe instead of killing it, they wanted to keep it safe, and so it will be challenging to calm a rampaging dragon without outright killing it. Maybe that is why they needed Urahara and Tessai, even at the end, as surely their Kido could have helped. The reason I have this theory was to help cross over the series of Bleach and Burn the Witch. This could be the catalyst for that. That brings up the question, if you wanted to connect the two series, how would you do that? Having a dragon show up could be a possible route. Yuzu and Karin may be good candidates to connect the series, as I feel they will likely be characters to travel around the world of the living. I also think if some characters were to get dragons, it could be them if they were ever to get powers. Other than the two, their big brother Ichigo was also said to have studied English in the UK. I don't see how the hero of the Eastern Soul Society branch won't come acquainted with the Western branch if he spent some time there. Ichigo was said to have liked Shakespeare, and at the end of Thousand Year Blood War he was said to be a translator. All the details add up to Ichigo visiting there eventually, and so maybe this encounter during Camp for Your Own World would lead him there. Furthermore, perhaps Orihime or Tatsuki could be the bridge to both sides, by acquiring or at least getting in contact with a dragon. This quote by Kubo gives us an idea how originally Orihime was supposed to have a dragon-like appearance with her ability. Furthermore, we have this illustration from the manga where Orihime is a princess and a dragon is protecting her until it was defeated or something. This could refer to Tatsuki, as her name represents dragon, and Orihime, whose name represents princess, symbolizing how Tatsuki will protect Orihime but no longer needs to, as Orihime has gained enough strength to do so herself. Anyways, if none of these characters could fit in Reverse London, I'd say send my guy Ikkaku. He wouldn't fit at all, but it's always funny when he gets sent in the world of the living, so I approve. Might as well send these two as well to accompany him. Oh, and Rangiku as well, for various reasons. What do you all think about these theories? What do you think this hidden arc would be about? How would you go about connecting Burn the Witch and Bleach? Let me know in the comments.